So a lot of you guys may be a fan of this piece of news about Vince McMahon no longer being involved in WWE creative. Now it could just be a rumor at the moment, but multiple sources are, discussing the possibility of Triple H being in full control of WWE creative going forward. So I want to read you pwmania.com. It says that multiple WWE employees believe Vince McMahon is no longer involved with creative, right? Because as you know, Vince, he stepped down last year and returned to power a few months ago, working remotely and overseeing the big picture with creative. So this year, Triple H has been in charge of the majority of the creative, but there has been times when things on TV appear to come directly from Vince. So according to PW Insider, the word around WWE is that McMahon is no longer involved in the creative side of things. It was stated that wrestlers and company employees believe that Paul Triple H Levesque has been knighted by Endeavor and will be driving 99.9% of the creative going forward. And although this hasn't been 100% firm, several employees believe it is the case. Now that's good news for that were just annoyed and irritated with Vince McMahon, running things with creative and him messing up the weekly shows and him just digging his grimy hands and everything, right? And as when Vince was running things, he was firmly in control. The guy was booking the show for himself. And I remember those Raws. I remember those times where it was like watching as a viewer, it's like it would become so frustrating to really get invested. Like it would be hard to get invested in the product because you knew who was booking the show. It became frustrating to even watch because you knew he was booking for himself. Right? Ratings were at an all-time low. Ticket sales were very under. Well, now with Triple H in control, ever since he got in control last year in July, all of their shows, all of their arenas, right, have been selling out. They've been selling out their shows, and they've been filling up them seats, right? So you saw a change when it came to how the weekly shows were ran and booked from Raw and SmackDown. You saw a change. I'm not saying that Triple H has saved the WWE. If we're being honest here, Triple H has dropped the ball in certain aspects, right? It hasn't been perfect with Triple H. But I will say the company, the product as a whole, has improved. You feel more invested in the characters going forward. And that's a good thing. And it's going to take Triple H more time to really undo the damage that was done by Vince McMahon and his goons. Right? It's like the power structure has changed. The direction has shifted. There's a new guard. And it's telling. And I don't want to get into the details of of how everything has just changed and became a lot better, you know, because, I don't want to be on here for too long. But what do you guys think of this piece of news, man? Are you excited that Triple H is in firm control of creative? Are you finally excited that McMahon is out of the picture going forward? Because it seems to me that the backstage atmosphere, the morale backstage is at an all-time high. And when Vince was around, the backstage morale was at an all-time low. So with Endeavor taking ship, them being involved with WWE, I'm pretty sure they don't want any bad publicity with Vince. And with the locker room morale being low when he's around, they don't want none of that either. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time for Vince to forever, permanently step away from creative, because let's be honest, as great as a promoter as Vince is and was, he is not cut out to book weekly shows anymore. He just doesn't have it. He lost his creative ability. Maybe it's because he has gotten older and more senile, right? I think Vince could book a great show, but the problem is he probably doesn't see things from other wrestlers' perspective. He doesn't see things from other writers' perspective, or other producers, or people that work close to him. He only sees it in his own vision, through his own lens, right? And it's good to take ideas and suggestions from other people because they're contributing to the show as well. So, their input is just as important. And he probably got to a place where he didn't have to try to put on a classic show like he did back in the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression era. It's like ever since the product went PG, it's like he didn't have much of an incentive to put on the best shows anymore and to really pop a rating like back in the day. And there was no competition. So with no competition, that made Vince, it made him complacent. He didn't have to try. And it was just fun for him to book the show for himself and not for the fans. He didn't care if you tuned in or not. It was really about his vision for what the show was going to look like and how it was going to be booked. So now you're starting to see a change with Triple H. And in my opinion, the product from Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, the quality has went up. And I think it's going to get better as time progresses. But it's going to take time for this to really kick into high gear. We got a long ways to go. We got like 10, 15 years of bad TV, mind you. So it's going to take a lot of time, man, to undo that damage that Vince has caused. Vince was a great promoter. He's been part of legendary classic storylines. There's no doubt about it, but it's time to move on. It's time for him to step away for good this time. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Make sure you like for the algorithm, subscribe for more content, and I'm out. Peace.